Hey, welcome back to the Backyard Professor videos. I've had a couple of really heavy-duty busy weeks, so I'm getting back onto making some more videos. I'm going to do a few book reviews, I think. There's been a few people who've been wanting me to review some more books, and there are some great books out there. A lot of my books, as you know, I'm trying like crazy to learn the biblical languages, and I've been given wonderful access to an enormous amount of commentaries, exegetical materials of the Greek New Testament, as well as some of the Septuagint. I've got a lot of dictionaries and lexicons and word studies and commentaries, expositions and expoundings on the Greek New Testament. And I'm focusing on Hebrew, but it seems like right now a lot of my material is the Greek that's coming out. In my analyzing, I probably have 8 or 9 Hebrew grammars that I browse through and look through. This particular one I want to review. It's Hebrew for Theologians by Jacques B. Doukhan. I believe it's a 1993 text, and it is a beginning to learn Hebrew book, a grammar, but his emphasis is interesting. Now, for me, this is the value of having so many different grammars. You think, well, once you get one grammar and read through it, then you can begin reading the Old Testament. Technically, probably true. The advantage of having different grammars, different types of emphasis, of style. Now, there is certain types of information in the grammar that everyone will cover. But every one of these scholars who write a grammar book will emphasize different scriptures that illustrate the principles they're expounding. And that's the value, that's the beauty. I use my grammars for reference books as far as that goes. The thing I love about Doukhan, I think that's how you pronounce it, D-O-U-K-H-A-N, Doukhan or Doukhan, is when he gets into the morphology, how the Hebrew words are put together, their shape, their form, the types of letters they use, the endings, the suffixes, the pronominal suffixes, the prefixes, and so on and so forth. And you'll understand that as you begin to learn Hebrew. What he does is he weaves into the study of Hebrew the actual philosophy of the mindset of the ancient Jews, well, and the modern Jews too, as far as that goes. This is specifically for biblical Hebrew, and there is some differences between biblical and modern. I was advised by a scholar not to study the modern Hebrew until I get the biblical Hebrew, or else get the modern Hebrew and then begin studying the biblical Hebrew. I started with biblical Hebrew. What he says here is, for the inseparable words are single letters. And he says the definite article ha. This is just basically hey with patak, the vowel under it. And he talks about the interrogative and the prepositions be, ke, le, and min. They don't have a separate existence. When you want to say from somewhere, you use one preposition, and if you want to say in something or above something or something like that, you're using various prepositions. These are attached directly to the words. And he says, now think of the philosophy, the idea underneath this thinking. In Hebrew, the relationships between the prepositions that are assimilated into the actual words, they actually change those words into a new grammatical entity. The relationships, nothing remains the same as soon as we enter a relationship, whether it's with another person or with another thing or something like that. And so this integrated unity of Hebrew thought is directly reflected in the language. It's suggested here. And I thought, well, that was interesting. That's on page 27. I said go to turn to page 33, and he says more of the same. He says when the corresponding pronoun matches with the noun, so that you can say my donkey as opposed to donkey and so on and so forth, he says the suffixes in Hebrew are united to the noun, the endings on the words. They are united and they become a part. They don't have a separate existence. They become a part of that word. This forms a single word expressing the totality of the idea. And I thought that was kind of interesting, and I said, turn to page 35. He says more of the same with Hebrew conveys in only one word the idea of the totality of action, whichever verb it is you're using and understanding. And then I've got... and this is interesting because when he talks about the two tenses, the perfect and the imperfect in Hebrew, he's talking when you add the vav to a word, it's either vav consecutive, it carries forward the idea previously, or the vav conversive, and it has a real conversive effect, but it also is attached to the word in Hebrew. So he says past and future are actualized not only because the people of today is one with the people of yesterday and of tomorrow. See, this is the idea of the corporate personality. But also because of God, who can see the past and future at the same time. In other words, this element of prophecy is built directly into the Hebrew language with the various morphology and structure of how Hebrew works. I thought, wow, that is really interesting. Because as I've said, I believe Hebrew is a holy language. And if you have that attitude with it, then you're halfway there to learning it. Then you will do anything and everything you can to learn just one thing a day, if that's all you have time for. You can take that minute and learn something new in Hebrew every day, and eventually you'll become fluent in it. So this book, and it's not a large book. He goes through 4 different texts, Genesis 22, I believe, one text in Micah, one text in Kings, and then in the back he has a wonderful discussion of Hebrew thought about the world, about mankind, about God, about our relationships with each other, with God, with the world, and he explores how the Hebrew words bring in this idea of a unity and a totality of thought. So while you're learning the Hebrew with this book, you're also grasping the importance of the philosophical mindset of the ancient Hebrews. And in my opinion, that makes this book a 4-star book. It is very good. I would encourage you to read it. I don't know if it's available online or not. It should be. That's how I got mine. But it's called Hebrew for Theologians, a textbook for the study of biblical Hebrew in relation to Hebrew thinking. Jacques, Jacqueus B. Doukhan, Doukhan. Hebrew for Theologians. If you want to study Hebrew, this is a terrific little book for you. You will like it.